What madness! The unexpected news just reached the Chargers has been confirmed. This has never happened before. The NFL is on fire with the bolts, an unexpected turn of events that just occurred. And you know we have all the details here first before anywhere else. Before we dive into this latest news, if you're new here, don't waste time, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. We'll bring you the latest Los Angeles Chargers news daily, keeping you ahead of the curve. Now, let's get straight to the point. Get ready, Chargers fans, because the last few hours have been hectic, and what's happening behind the scenes could completely change the course of the season. From mysterious injuries to surprising roster changes and even the expectation of a giant leap to the top of the AFC West, everything is happening at once, and you need to understand every detail to prepare for the historic debut that's coming. The Mechy Beckton saga has finally gained a new chapter, and this time, it's one with good news for Los Angeles Chargers fans. For weeks, the question lingered, would the offensive line's marquee addition truly be ready for the season? The silence from Jim Harbaugh and the coaching staff only heightened the tension. But now, Beckton himself has broken the ice and brought some relief, albeit with a touch of caution. Beckton, who had missed much of training camp due to a kept secret injury, returned to practice with the team before week 1. And not only that, he opened up to the press. When asked about his absences, he described dealing with uncomfortable things, suggesting it was nothing more than the natural wear and tear he's faced throughout his career. No frustration, he said, just missing the company of his teammates. I prefer being around my teammates than in the training room. I missed building that chemistry, he confessed, but the fans' apprehension isn't unfounded. Beckton has a complex injury history, and only last season was he able to establish himself after switching positions to point guard. To make matters worse, he's a key player in rebuilding an offensive line that was one of the worst in the NFL last year. Zion Johnson and Bradley Bozeman remain solid at their positions, but Beckton's arrival was seen as the key difference, providing more protection for Justin Herbert and opening up space for the running game. Now, with the number 77 back, expectations are rising again. The big question is, how long will he be able to stay healthy and hold down the trenches against elite defenses? Fans know that the success of the season depends directly on his durability, and it's precisely this factor that connects us to the next point in our story, the season premiere that's just around the corner, and the pressure mounting inside the locker room. Less than 10 days separate us from one of the most anticipated games of the NFL season, Los Angeles Chargers versus Kansas City Chiefs, and on Brazilian soil. The league made history by bringing a matchup of this magnitude to Brazil, and the atmosphere is already teetering on the edge of anticipation. For fans, it's not just a debut, it's a chance to see Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, and two of the AFC's most explosive franchises face off on home soil. But beyond the celebration, there's also a huge weight on the Chargers' shoulders, proving they can take the next step and turn expectations into reality. Coach Jim Harbaugh and General Manager Joe Ortiz have taken on the mission of rebuilding this team, and in a short time, they've already shown results. The first year of work focused on adjustments, getting the house in order, and erasing the remnants of the mess left behind. Still, the team surprised. They won 11 games and secured a playoff berth right away. However, the old ghost of the postseason has returned. Since Herbert took over as starting quarterback, the Chargers have reached the playoffs twice, and both times they fell early. This needs to change. The message in the locker room is straightforward. It's not enough to just show up. It's time to win. And even those who have already achieved everything in the NFL see this potential. Former wide receiver Julian Edelman, a 3-time Super Bowl champion with the New England Patriots, visited the practice sessions and offered an optimistic assessment. You want to see where that leap goes after making the playoffs in the first year. When a coach can bring the right players into the system, there's always a big leap, Edelman emphasized, reinforcing his confidence in Harbaugh's work. And that's exactly where the expectation lies. Harbaugh has already laid the foundation. Herbert remains the face of the franchise. The draft added key players, including a first-round running back, and now there are no more excuses. The AFC West, however, is a battleground. The Chiefs, the reigning champions, remain the benchmark and continue to send the opponent to beat. The Broncos have strengthened and are more competitive, and even the Raiders have shown signs of improvement. Still, Edelman believes the Chargers can win the division and perhaps even go further. To do so, they'll need not only talent but also depth, especially at critical positions like the offensive line. Every detail will make a difference, and that's precisely where the cuts, signings, and last-minute adjustments made behind the scenes come in. These changes, which may seem small now, could become the key to deciding the course of the season when the ball starts flying in Sao Paulo. If practice was already busy, the week took on an even more intense tone with the announcement of the Los Angeles Chargers' final 53-man roster. As always happens in the NFL, when the time comes for cuts and adjustments, surprises arise, stirring not only the teams behind the scenes, but also the hearts of the fans. After all, every new addition or departure can directly impact the team's depth and, consequently, the future of the season. And this time, time was no different. The Bolts not only shuffled the main roster, but also added a dose of drama to the practice squad, demonstrating that every detail is being pushed to the limit in this race for success. One of the first moves was to place cornerback Eric Rodgers on the injured list, immediately making room for linebacker Del'Shawn Phillips. The decision seemed calculated, but it made it clear that the coaching staff is constantly adjusting its players with a focus on the long and grueling season ahead. Next, the Chargers attempted a bold and strategic move, signing Trevor Keegan, a guard from Michigan, who was seen as a young player with significant growth potential. But the plan didn't pan out. The Dallas Cowboys stepped in with a higher priority on the waiver list and ended up taking the player, thwarting general manager Joe Ortiz's attempt. With Keegan gone, the solution was to rethink the next steps. And that's when the most unexpected decision of the week came about: the lightning-fast release of Harrison Hand, the cornerback who had arrived midway through the preseason and was subsequently relegated to the practice squad, only lasted 3 days with the team before being released. The reason? To make room for veteran offensive lineman David Sharp, an experienced player who arrives to bolster the franchise's most critical position at the moment, protecting Justin Herbert. And the decision makes sense. Currently, the Chargers have only 8 offensive linemen on the active roster, a number considered risky for a 17-game NFL season. Harbaugh and Ortiz know they can't repeat past mistakes when Herbert was overly exposed to opposing defenses, which hurt both the passing attack and the team's confidence in decisive moments. Therefore, someone from the practice squad, most likely Sharp himself, should be promoted early in the season, ensuring a more secure rotation in the trenches. This kind of move may seem small, but in practice it reveals a lot about the philosophy adopted by the new management. Harbaugh and Ortiz work with meticulous attention to detail in every decision, always weighing experience against youth. It's the balance between seasoned veterans and developing talent that could give the Chargers the chance to not only compete, but finally assert themselves as protagonists in the AFC West. And this is the point that keeps fan expectations high. The Chargers seem determined not to repeat the same mistakes. Every cut, every signing, and every adjustment is made with a focus on a larger goal. It's not about assembling a roster simply to fill vacancies, but rather about preparing a team capable of sustaining a high level of competition throughout the season, especially against fierce rivals like the Chiefs, Broncos, and Raiders. Fans, it's increasingly clear the coming days will be decisive. Mechy Beckton is healthy, Harbaugh is in his second year, and the roster has been fine-tuned down to the smallest detail. The season is already starting in Brazil with the atmosphere of an early final. The big question is it finally time for the Chargers to turn the page and write a new story of prominence in the NFL? Leave your opinion in the comments and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.